Hello, livestock friends, and welcome to this edition of Before the Bid. This is a podcast dedicated to the livestock sales industry where we go behind the scenes of the operation and speak straight to the sellers. We discuss topics about the important aspects of their operation, location, the people behind the prep work, and talk about some of the animals that will be offered to you, the prospective buyers. Hopefully, you've got your sale catalog close by. You might have to go look through that pile on your desk. But if not, then you're probably like me and driving down the road or busy with chores around the farm. And that's okay too. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you enjoy this segment of Before the Bid. I'm your host, Andy Howell. Welcome, livestock friends, to this Before the Bid podcast. And on this one, we're going to talk some shorthorn cattle. We're going to talk about some club calves, and we're going to stay right here in my home state of Indiana. And we are going to Columbus, Indiana, to talk to a guy that I've known for a little while. We both kind of work. He works a lot more at the company than I do, but he is with Halderman Farm and Real Estate, and also he is an auctioneer. This guy has been the past president of the Farmers Managers and Rural Appraisers, and so we want to talk to him about that just a little bit and kind of have a little bit of a repeat here where it's a 4-H project gone rogue in this operation, and we're going to talk about that with my guest. And so I want to welcome Michael Bonnell from Columbus, Indiana. They're going to have a sale on SC Sales, and that sale is going to be held September 14th. So, Michael, appreciate you getting this put together and coming on the podcast with me here, and just interested in hearing these stories and talking about these cattle.
Well, thanks for having me, Andy. I appreciate it.
Like I said, I appreciate it and want to tell everybody I've been to this operation. We came, I don't know if we made it last year, but the year before I think we did. And so went up there and looked through these cattle, and so what a great set these guys have, and I think you're going to be real pleased with them when you look at them on SC. And so, Michael, if you would, I kind of brought it out that it was a 4-H project gone rogue. If you would, tell us a little bit of the history here at Bonnell's.
Yeah, so we got started, like a lot of people, as a 4-H project. My cousin, Kip Bonnell, who's Bonnell Farm Show Cattle, kind of got me started with my first steer back in, and I don't even know what year it was, but had an Angus steer from him the first year, and then after that kind of went out and found a heifer, and we ended up at Wolf Farm Show Cattle over in Liberty, Indiana, where I bought my first heifer, and she was a Payback 173, and that mating was, all the rage back then, and kind of snowballed from there. A couple years later, the next year, my sister got started, and that's kind of how we got started in the Shorthorns, and that's kind of been our focus, moving forward. And, she bought a double stuffed cherry from Orrin, and then over the years, we've kind of diversified a little bit, been to Kate's Farms and Sullivan's and a few other places, and kind of built up our herd over the years. And then once I kind of got done with 4-H is when we kind of got serious about it and bought a heifer from Hans over in Illinois, and then kind of the two cornerstones of our program came right thereafter, and that was two heifers that we had bought from Meyer Family Shorthorns over in Greensburg, Indiana, and started out with a Sin City cow that we bought out of Dewis's sale back when they were still going strong over there in Illinois, and that cow went on to raise an All-American show heifer for my sister in one of her last year's showing. And then that year that we had that heifer, we also bought another heifer from Myers that you're going to hear quite a bit about today. And that was the Xena Solution cow that we'll talk about a little bit more. So, like I said, over the years, we've kind of diversified, tried to find the genetics that we liked. I think if anyone went and looked through our cows, I don't know that there's a specific type or kind out there, but I think mostly, I guess for me personally, and, what we tell, I work with our local judging team, and is it all starts at the ground, so they got to be sound, and then from there you can kind of build in pieces and change them how you see fit. So
Right, good thought there. And it doesn't matter what flavor, just as long as it's good, right?
Exactly. And like I said, our main focus has been in the Shorthorn breed. I enjoy raising Shorthorns, but we also kind of felt the need to diversify a little bit and, be able to offer some other genetics as well. So we've got some Simmentals and some Maines and an Angus here and there, and
diversify and go different ways and have a little bit of everything to offer everybody. So Michael,
Exactly.
it's not just you right there. Who else is helping you guys, and who else is involved in this operation?
Yeah, so obviously, for the most part, it's my dad and I. My sister, she lives down in Texas now, so she's kind of out of the operation. But my dad, Dave, and I do most of the cattle stuff, and then my mom and my wife both help out, here and there when they
Hmm.
can. And but for the most part, it's Dave and I, and got about 30 cows now, and it seems like a pretty good number with our day jobs and the farming operation and everything else. It just kind of lends itself to be a good number. So.
Right. Maybe not enough to really do crazy things, but sometimes almost more than you can handle at times, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. 4 or 5 years ago, I'd say we were probably up around 60 or 70 cows, but unfortunately, you lose some pasture and things like that and kind of reevaluate some priorities. And like I said, we've kind of downsized a little bit. The cow herd was getting a little older there and had to make some tough decisions and trying to do some embryo transfer work with some, obviously our donor cows, and then kept back some younger cows here and there. We've been doing this online sale for about 6, 7 years now.
Hmm.
We've always tried to offer the best we can. With only having
Hmm.
30 cows, sometimes you don't have the opportunity to keep back, the best ones to put back in the herd. And, that's why we've kind of gone out and bought some other genetics and other things that we, and bred cows, or, maybe a fall-born open heifer that we, liked pretty well, or things like
Hmm.
that, to kind of be able to continue to keep the cow herd at a reasonable age, but yet still provide a good offering that's going to be competitive out in the show ring, and then
Right.
have those things go on to produce as cows.
Right. Right. Yeah, go out and find some new stuff. So, and you alluded to it just a minute ago, but you and your dad, you don't just work together on the cattle, you also work together in your daily businesses. Tell us a little bit about Halderman's and about what you guys do with Halderman and some of the farming things that you guys do with those.
Yeah, so I guess we're a little bit crazy in that we run cattle together and work together all at the same time. But we both work for Halderman Real Estate and Farm Management. And I've been with Halderman for a little over 11 years now. And then Dave has actually worked for Halderman for 33 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it's a farm management and real estate company. On the farm management side, we manage farm properties for absentee landowners, handle lease negotiations. A lot of times we'll, do all the finances and things like that for people that otherwise may have sold their family farm or wouldn't have known what to do. So a lot of the people that we work with on the farm management side are second, third generation off the farm type of people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, grandma and grandpa operated their family farm at that point in time, but they've been away from it, maybe don't understand it. So
Mm-hmm.
we're there to kind of help protect their interests and make sure they kind of understand what's going on, and basically, provide a service to continue that family tradition.
Right. And helping those guys figure out what it is that they need to do and different things as far as on the management
Absolutely.
side.
We work pretty closely with all of our tenants, and whether it's farm programs or tile or things like that, ways to improve the farm property to maximize, your investment, are the types of things we're looking to do. So, and then on the real estate side of the business, our company does a lot of farm auctions. I think we had past 2 weeks, we had 6 auctions.
Mm-hmm.
And just here in the past month, we've got 12 in October and 12 in November.
Right.
And that side of the business has been very active here lately, and the ag farmland market's really strong right now. So, and we may see some more of that coming here later this fall as well. So that's kind of one side, is the farm auction side.
Right.
And then we also, Dave and I are both certified general appraisers. So we do a lot of farm appraisals for estates, banks, attorneys, anyone basically that's needing a certified appraisal, whether it's a land transfer, or we're seeing a lot of estate work where people are doing their estate planning, getting things put into trust and different types of things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Michael actually appraised our family. We had a situation, and he appraised that farm, so did very nice work. And Michael, us at Halderman, we're not just Indiana, we're getting nationwide, right?
Correct. So Halderman's got, not sure on the exact number of representatives, but Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, Kentucky, Michigan, but then we've got managed properties in Texas and all across the United States.
Mm-hmm. And I think Rusty even flew out. Was that Montana that he went to last year to do one?
Yeah, they flew out to Montana last year, or it might have been 2 years ago. I
Might
don't
have been,
remember
yeah.
when that was, but I don't know a lot of the specifics on that side of things. But yeah, no, get an opportunity to work on a lot of different projects and see a lot of different part of the country. Actually served as an intern whenever I was in college for Halderman, and
Hmm.
back then we were managing a large dairy down in Texas, and so I got the opportunity to go down and see that, and that was a pretty neat experience. And I know that they had some ground out in North Carolina, and so definitely a nationwide operation, and it's definitely a blessing to be able to work for the Halderman family. So
Right. Yeah. I actually have my Halderman shirt on right now as we're recording, so we're at to work today.
I do as well. I actually just got home from inspecting 3 different farms that we working on some appraisal stuff for.
Uh-huh.
So doing a little work, and then be headed to the barn here after we finish up to start getting things ready for the weekend. So
Right. And before we totally get away from that, you're a past president of the managers and appraisals?
yeah, I was a past president of it's the Indiana Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers.
Okay.
So it's the Indiana chapter of the American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers. And that is a group that actually did a lot of my appraisal education through. A lot of the appraisal education that is available is more specific towards commercial buildings and more commercial type properties. As
Mm-hmm.
a certified general appraiser, I technically would be allowed to do, a warehouse in Indianapolis or something
Mm-hmm.
along those lines, but the key is being competent, and that's not really my lane. So,
Right.
um,
Rather stick with
but
the farmland.
exactly, we'll
Yeah.
stick with the farmland, and but no, the American Society, they do a lot of great things education wise. There's a couple different tracks. There's accredited farm manager track that a lot of people go through.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also an accredited rural appraiser. So just some different classes and different ways to look at things. You're able to meet and network with a lot of different people across the country, and for that reason, it's something that I've valued quite a bit here in my early career. So.
Okay. Well, that's great. Yeah, and these guys, I've worked with Michael and Dave on a few auctions and things, and they're great to work with. And Dave actually came down and helped me try to get one sold. So appreciate all you guys' work and all the things that you guys do. So, Mike, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but what are some of your breeding philosophies? I know we start at the ground, but kind of what are some of your goals with that? What are you kind of looking for in the future with Bonnell Cattle Company?
Yeah, so obviously you always want to be competitive in the show ring. For the most part, most of the cattle we sell are going to 4-H families or junior livestock exhibitors here on the shorthorn side. And so, obviously we want them to be attractive and eye appealing. But, I guess for me and kind of the way that I've evaluated cattle, and, I want the ones that are going to go out. Maybe they're not going to be quite as successful in the show ring as some, but they're going to be ones that are going to go out and produce, because at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day, that's what we're trying to do. So, I mean, sound, big bodied, just kind of easy flushing type of cattle, that low maintenance, obviously for us, that's a big deal with it just being Dave and I.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think for the most part, every once in a while you'll get one or two that's, maybe just a little harder doing or things like that. But for the most part, I think most of our cow herd is probably a little bit more moderate than maybe some. Moderate, easy flushing, just kind of low maintenance type of cattle that, are sound and big bodied, and then we can kind of breed them from there and add the look and design that they're kind of searching for today.
Mm-hmm. Right. Doing a lot of AI? Are you doing some flushing? Are you doing?
Yeah, so we do mostly artificial insemination.
Mm-hmm.
Everything will get AI'd at least once or twice,
Mm-hmm.
and then we will turn a bull out. The last few years, we purchased a bull from Kate's Farms called CF Pioneer, and you're going to see some of that bull here in some of these pedigrees that we're going to talk about a little bit later. And he's a damn proud son that goes back to the Modoc Margie cow. Did a tremendous job for us for a few years. Unfortunately, things happen, and he's not around anymore. But fortunately enough, we were without him for a year, but we actually raised a bull this past year called Bonnell Authority,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a Simplify son out of our Xena Solution cow. That he's triple clean, so he's clean for all the genetic defects that we test for in the shorthorn breed. And
Mm-hmm.
we're really excited about what his first calf crop has been. We've got 2 calves here out of him in the sale this fall, and We've got several other younger ones out in the pasture that I think are going to make some nice projects for some people for some later county fairs or different things. So basically artificial insemination and embryo transfer for the most part. Mostly on our embryo side of things, we've kind of gone away from the conventional flushing a little bit and done more or IVF. Just because it gives us the ability to make heifers. With only running 30 cows,
right?
I think for the most part, all the heifers that we have this year, except for maybe 2 of them, were all IVF sexed heifer embryos. So if it wouldn't have been for those, we wouldn't have had much of a heifer selection this year. So
right.
So it just kind of it helps us in the ability, and it also gives us the ability to put a bunch of heifer embryos in, and then if we've got 10 shorthorn heifers, then, maybe we can keep 1 back or keep 2 back or something to kind of, replace some of these. Because the Xena Solution cow, I mean, she's getting to be a little older, and a couple of our other donor cows are getting a little bit of age on them. And, we've got some up and comers coming. They're just not quite as established as what maybe those 2 are.
Right. Yeah, from a small operation, I know what that's all about. When you get way too many bulls in 1 year, that kind of hurts.
And we ended up being about 50-50 this year, which, hey, there's nothing wrong with that, because I think our steer selection this year is really nice. Probably the best set of steers we've had to sell in a few years. So, but that just kind of goes back, to those cows. So.
Right. Yeah, I think we were about 70-30, it seems like, around here this time. So so I absolutely understand that. So, well, that's a great way to do that. So, do you want to talk a little more about this authority? Are you guys planning to collect him at all? Just use him on in-herd?
Yeah, so he's actually been collected already. Semen on him is available through Cattle Visions or through us as well. Sold probably a little over, right at 150 units of semen on them this past year. So hopefully looking forward to seeing a lot more from other herds as well. But as far as our side of things, we let him kind of breed most of our better cows this year. The ones that we would typically AI, I would say he covered probably 60% of the ones of the shorthorn cows that we would AI.
Oh wow! So
definitely gonna see more from him next year, and like I said, just kind of looking forward to that. I can tell you a little story. Tag 5, which is we'll talk about him more later. But when he was born, he was the first one that we had, and that thing was up off the ground and running around the pasture within like 45 minutes of being born.
Oh wow!
And I was like, oh, well, that's fun. And then it kind of helped that he was kind of pretty neat looking,
right?
Pretty stout, and I was like, well, we might have something here. So, and then as we kind of progressed into the calving season, those cattle, they all came pretty small. I'm not going to say he's a calving ease bull, because if you look at his EPDs and things like that, I mean, it's going to tell you a different story. But for us and on our cows, most of those things were 70 to 85 pounds and all came unassisted. Now, we had some bigger ones too, but not anything that most of those cows couldn't handle. So, yeah, we're definitely really excited about what he offers. I think he's going to put some look and some muscle, and he's just kind of a big-footed, big-bone, rugged-made type of bull. Yeah, just really excited for what the future holds for him.
Right. So go find him at Cattle Visions, Bonnell, Bonnell Authority, and set yourself up there and in the shorthorns and roll with him. And yeah, I was thinking just a little bit ago, man, that wouldn't be a bad bull just to kind of turn out if you get upset because you don't get one AI'd, but it's like, you know what, we probably got a bull that can cover him pretty well and do a nice job with him.
Well, and that's kind of when we went out and bought the Pioneer bull from Cates's, and he was maybe not bred the way a lot of the shorthorns were bred then, but I thought he worked good for our operation, in that we could use him on all of our shorthorn cows, and then he would cross well on the semis or crossbreds or keys or mains or whatever else we had running around out there, and for the most part, I mean, he did a real nice job. Just talking a little bit about maybe some of the successes of that bull, he raised the 2018 champion shorthorn heifer on the Indiana Finest Show circuit that year. Was a heifer that we sold in our online sale, Unger, and Tracy families bought together.
Mm-hmm.
And that heifer went on to be really successful, won a couple shows, was champion shorthorn quite a bit, and then ended up being the champion shorthorn heifer on the show circuit that year, and did really well for them, and is doing a nice job, I think, as a cow as well. So, but yeah, so like I said, it was just kind of, with this bull, I kind of feel the same way as I did with Pioneers. I feel like go through, breed the cows a couple times, let him clean them up, and I think we'll still have a set that we can be proud of and
Right.
and market well, and that'll go out and do well for the people that buy them. So.
Right. Yeah, and you started to talk a little bit, but do you have a couple other success stories that you guys have had here the past couple of years? What you say you've been selling for 6 or 7 years now?
Yeah, so, obviously had a few families that we've had the opportunity to work with several times over the years. We've got Isabel Gillard, who's actually from Stevensville, Montana,
Mm-hmm.
and she bought her first heifer from us sight unseen out of our 2016 sale.
Mm-hmm.
And that heifer was a Pioneer Bloodstone heifer, and one of those heifers that was too nice to not sell, but she definitely had an attitude to her.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, and they actually bought her sight unseen, and they called us and they're like, well, how wild is that heifer? I'm like, well, I mean, we can wash her and do all those types of things, but she's going to take a lot of work, and it took a lot of work to get that heifer shown, and they did, and it ended up working out. They took her to the Northern International Livestock Exposition, and I think she ended up being Grand Reserve at that show. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. And then they proceeded to buy a couple more the years after that. In 2018, they actually had Grand and Reserve heifer at Nile out there with two heifers that they had purchased from us.
Oh, wow.
One was a Pioneer Simplify heifer. That heifer ended up being Grand as a calf. And then I think the next year went back to be Reserve the next year out there as a big heifer. And then they bought a hot commodity heifer from us in our 2017 sale.
Mm-hmm.
I think that heifer maybe brought $1,800. I don't remember what she brought, but I know she was kind of at the lower end of the spectrum in that sale. And, she ended up going on to be the Reserve Grand heifer at Nile in 2018.
Oh, wow.
So they had quite a bit of success with those three that they had bought from us. And I know David talked to her a little while back, and she's starting to sell some calves and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
coming full fruition. And then
Mm-hmm.
talked a little bit about the Tracy family, Bob Canup, his grandkids. Brady's bought, several heifers from us and steers, and had quite a few champion shorthorn heifers, at the Gibson County preview show with them. And Bailey, his granddaughter, had champion shorthorn steer a couple times with a steer that we sold in our 2018 sale.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, quite a bit of success at the local and state level. And then, on the national level, we had a heifer that we sold a few years back that was an embryo that we had purchased to Jacob Shuffler.
Mm-hmm.
And she went on we actually bred that cow to Pioneer, and her first calf was the 5th overall bred and owned heifer at 2017 Shorthorn Junior Nationals. So
Yeah, so getting after it local and on a national scale. So right there out of the 30 to 60-ish cows or so.
Yeah.
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 So doing a nice job of getting them bred up there. So, well, Michael, you want to talk about some of these cattle in the sale?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, if you would, if they're not watching a podcast video and they want to go look at it, they can go to SC Online Sales and look for September 14th sale, and Bonnell Cattle Company down there, so they can see pictures and videos of those. Again, if you're not watching that podcast video, but it will be out shortly if you're listening to this, or it is out. So, Michael, let's just start rolling down through there. We got a white one here in lot 1, and start off with a pretty good one here.
Yeah, I like this tag 1 heifer quite a bit. She's been a standout definitely since the day she was born. Upper Hand is I think he was the Reserve National Champion this past fall at the North American for Kate's Farms and Shuffler Shorthorns up in Greenfield. And Kyle, who's the herdsman there at Kate's, him and his family bought that bull, and I liked him quite a bit when he was a calf, and got some semen on him, and this is the result. So definitely a heifer that is impressive just in terms of the mass and dimension that she has, but yet still puts it into a really eye-appealing package.
Mm-hmm.
Big-footed, just soft pastern, and can get out and go. And I think that one's got a really bright future ahead of her. If you're not afraid of a little soap and a little extra elbow grease,
Right.
I think that one's going to be an awful lot of fun to show. Those white ones, they're definitely hard to miss in the show ring, and we had a lot of success with a white one a few years back. So I guess they've got a little bit of a special place in my heart on that side of things. So. And then that cow that she's out of is a younger cow. She's a Pioneer Sin City.
Mm-hmm.
That Sin City cow was a Sin City Buttercup. So I talked a little bit earlier about the heifer that we bought from Dewis's.
Mm-hmm.
We bought from Myers out of Dewis's sale. That was that Sin City Buttercup cow.
Oh.
So that was actually her last natural calf.
Mm-hmm.
So got high hopes, young cow, one that we had been breeding. Her first calf was a fall born, and we kind of rolled her over to decided we weren't going to do the fall born calves anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and rolled over all those cows in the spring. So this will be just her second calf, but one that obviously excited for what that one's going to do here in the future. And I think that cow's got some potential to be in the donor pen here before too long for sure. So definitely one that I would encourage you to watch the video on, but even more so if you got time to swing by and take a look at her. I think she's even more impressive in person than she is in her picture and video. So, but then from there, tags 2 through 4, those are all full sisters and flush mates. They're out of the Little Cedar Aviator Bull and our donor cow Xena Solution 26W. Each one of them is a little bit different. I think tag 2 is kind of the big, powerfully constructed one, maybe just a little bolder everywhere. Than our 2 sisters, but maybe just doesn't quite have as much hair and maybe just a little bit less bone than maybe what tag 4 does.
Mm-hmm.
But, I guess for me and my pick, if you're just looking for one to make a cow out of and that could go out and be a donor cow for you, I really, really like tag 2.
Mm-hmm.
That one there is hard to let go of just because I know what that cow's done, and I think that that one's going to be a pretty special breeding piece for someone down the road. So tag 3, one that's unfortunately not like her 2 sisters and isn't the easiest to get along with. Not one that I'd recommend if you had a young or inexperienced showman to maybe gravitate towards, but another one that I think is going to make a good cow and just kind of a big, bold, easy flushing type of one in that heifer there. And then tag 4 maybe didn't have the best recip cow. I know everybody says that, but that is the truth, unfortunately. I think if you look at her 2 sisters, I think you can see the pieces are coming. Maybe just a little bit more attractive, a little flatter shouldered than what maybe tag 2 is, but one that I think is going to, have a pretty fun show career here moving forward. And, I guess of those 3, I kind of gravitate towards 2 and 4 personally, but I know that we've had some people that, kind of been all over the board. And I think, between 1, 2, and 4, I think any one of those heifers, you can go out and be competitive, not only in local and state, but I think at the national level as well. 3 heifers that I guess if we were still showing, those would be ones that would be definitely in contention to be in the show barn for sure. So.
Right. And I agree with what you said, just a little bit different, but boy, there's a lot of quality in each of them in different areas and whatever it is that you might want.
Correct.
Right. I like those.
From there, we kind of scroll down a little bit and get to the tag 5 steer. So here's the first steer we got 4 steers here in the sale, and I think all 4 of them are pretty neat. I guess I don't raise a ton of steers, so when we do have some that are good, they're kind of fun to play with. Lance Unger, he gives me a hard time and tells he's going to make a steer jock out of me one of these days. And, so I guess this is my attempt at that, but. No, tag 5 is obviously we talked a little bit about Authority earlier. He's the first natural calf out of Authority. Man, he's something to look at for sure. Just really a big, stout-made type of calf, easy flushing. I mean, we're not feeding him very hard, and he's still just as full as he was, when you fed him that morning at night. So I think that's one that's going to be just a nice, easy feeding one that I think is going to be really competitive this winter. And looking forward, that cow, a young cow, just a 4-year-old cow. I think she'll be 4 here in a month. So that one's just kind of getting going. That dam proud on the bottom side. And then the Grand Dam's Ace of Diamonds out of that Xena Solution cow. So kind of goes back to Xena again, but definitely a steer that I think in the shorthorn world is going to be really competitive, and I look forward to kind of following that one and seeing what he can do. So.
Mm-hmm. He's got that really cool roan color goes into that
Oh yeah,
red neck and shoulder. He's neat marked and
yeah,
really really nice steer.
yeah. Temperament wise, that thing, I'd say 3 of our 4 steers. I mean, you could load them up and take them to a show tomorrow, and they'd be ready to rock and roll. So, like I said, I think that one, the shorthorn steers, they're getting harder and harder to find, it seems like. And I think that one's had a little bit of success over the years. Back in 2017, had the champion shorthorn steer on the Indiana Finest circuit. And I think this one's, every bit as good as he was. Maybe just a little bit better, just in terms that he's a little stouter made and but yet still kind of neat looking. So Tag 6 is another one that just continues to get better each and every week. He's out of this will be this cow's 3rd calf. She had 2 I-80 heifers the last 2 times. One we sold in our 2019 sale to the J.D. Love up in Pittsboro, Indiana, and J.D. showed her at the Hoosier Beef Congress and was competitive up there in the market heifer division. And then she's gone on to make a nice cow for him. She just had her first calf this year, and then sold the heifer last year privately to a family over in Ohio. And I know they enjoyed showing her over there as well. So first steer we've gotten out of, and this is kind of what we've been searching for, was a steer out of that one, because she just makes them extra stout and sound. And I think that one's just going to be another just easy feeder that's just going to be a good practical type of fat. So flat shouldered and big hipped and just sound structured. So
nice smoke one that you're gonna catch him when you walk in. So
yeah, definitely.
He's cool.
Definitely. He'll definitely catch your eye out there with them. And so Tag 7 is our market heifer entry. Another one that definitely wouldn't recommend for a younger showman. She's definitely got a little bit more pep in her step, and one that we can, we can get her in the wash rack and wash her and blow her out and, clip and do those types of things. But, you get her off the halter and she does want to kind of run around and not act the smartest. So I don't want to get anybody hurt or anything like that. So we'll just we've kind of always, tell it like it is.
Right.
I mean, that one's
right.
I mean, everyone that comes, what's that thing? So, I mean, she does. She catches your attention. And she's,
sure,
just deep-fronted and big-haired and huge-boned and sound and, got a big stout hip in her. And like I said, if you got the time and the willpower to, and I think with some, TLC, that one's going to tame down and you're going to be able to show her and do things with her. I just, unfortunately with everything we got going on, I don't personally we try to work these things as much as we can, but they don't get worked every day for sure. So I think once someone gets them in and works them every day and does those types of things, be good. So
yeah, just needs somebody to love on her and maybe a little more than a 2-strand hot wire or something like that, you think?
Yeah, probably need 5-string. Yeah. She might jump over too, but no. And then so the Baldy heifer is Tag 8. She is a 3/4 Simmental, so she's shown the Sim Solutions, but she is a 3/4 semi. She's out of one of our donor cows that I actually own with Unger Show Cattle down in Sullivan, Indiana. That cow's been just an absolute force in terms of making cows and done a tremendous job. We bought that cow from Jimmy Martin out of his Dream Girl sale. It's probably been 7-8 years ago, and I think that cow she averaged about 32 embryos a flush when you're flushing her. So, like I said, just done a great job. This heifer, really good-footed, big-boned, just soft-made, easy flushing. I mean, that's one that it wouldn't hurt my feelings if nobody bid on her, and she stuck around here as a cow because I got a half-sister. I got a broker heifer that's a half-sister to her out in the pasture, and that thing is perfect uddered and just does a great job. And she's actually got the Tag 10 heifer in this sale. But the Baldy heifer is one that I like a lot for a cow. I think she's going to have a good show career, but I think her worth is when she gets to start having calves and producing for you. I think that one's going to make someone a lot of money. So Tag 9, we'll go ahead and talk about her. This heifer, unfortunately, been a little sick here the last few weeks, so we're kind of debating on whether or not we're going to leave her in the sale, or so it kind of depends on how she comes here in the next few days. But this was a embryo package that we bought down at the North American. Saw who that ginger was the 2014 Reserve National Champion Key at the North American, and this mating with I-80. Really like this heifer. I mean, big, stout made type of a female, one that's really good fronted and sound structured. If we don't end up selling her here in the sale, she'd be one that, if she straightens back out, we'll probably kind of repicture and maybe try to sell privately here later on. But as of right now, I think we're probably leaning towards maybe pulling her out, just because I don't want to sell somebody something that's not going to make it. So.
Right, but still something to keep your eye on her.
Yeah, keep your eye on her for sure. Because,
up.
like I said, if she straightens up, she may. Like I said, I mean, she's doing better with the heat and everything that we had over the last few weeks. She just got down, and I think we're on the path to progress. But you know as well as anyone, Andy, that sometimes you think you got something kicked, and then you go out the next day and they're running 106-degree fever again. So.
Yeah, I had one of those myself a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so and it's not exactly been the greatest of weather for that. So
no.
Tag 10 is our purebred Simmental entry. This heifer is one that I've kind of had my eye on for quite a while, and she's a relentless out of a broker out of that Hudson Pines bred cow. Kind of talked about that broker cow a little bit, just being one that's tremendous cow in terms of her body and rib shape, perfect uddered, and I think this relentless heifer is really, really attractive made and soft middled and sound structured. And this is a heifer that I think she's maybe a little greener than maybe some of the Simmental heifers that I've seen while I've been out and about a little bit. But I think one that, just the way she's built and just kind of knowing those cow families a little bit, I think that one's going to be awfully competitive. Here this fall, and even more so maybe next summer come State Fair time, and then into Louisville next year. I think that one's could be pretty special. So I think that's one that definitely, another one that I think encourage you to come by, take a look, and I think that one's I think she looks great in her picture and video, but I think that one's a little even better in person. So
yeah, she sure appears to have all the right parts and pieces. Just needs a little bit of time to put it into place.
Exactly. So it's always a challenge. You got when you're get all these ready for the sale, we're bunk feeding a lot of these things. So I don't think it'd take long to get that one where she needed to be. Once she gets her own feed pan and doesn't have to fight two others for her ration. So, right. But no, definitely one to keep your eye on for sure.
We like good stories on Before the Bid, and tell us about the neat story on this one.
Yeah, so Tag 11, she's out of our authority bull, another one that I guess I'm a little biased when it comes to those, maybe. So her dam did not get a bid in our 2019 sale. So she was one that ended up being a no sale, and we decided that she was too good just to be rid of and send to the sale barn or something like that. So we decided just to make her a cow, and this is her first attempt, and I think it's a pretty good first attempt. There's a little other story on this one. When this one was real young, I was like, I think that heifer is going to be pretty good, and Dave was like, I don't know, and so I'm winning that battle, but he gets me on the smoke steer up above. He gets the credit for that one for sure. So I wasn't totally excited when he told me what he bred that cow to last year, but she's bred back the same way this year. So no, but like I said, this out of the first calf heifer, one that just continues to get better. I mean, you just love the front 1/3 on that one, and then when you get behind her, she's big, stout hip and got the feet and legs. And I think that one, maybe doesn't have the pedigree that some of those plus heifers are going to have in that division, but I think that one's awfully good and is going to be, definitely at least get a look at the top end of the class. So,
and you just laugh at those guys, laugh at everybody that didn't bid on her. Probably me, including in that one.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, she was a heifer. I mean, she was a heifer in that sale that, I didn't expect her to bring much.
Right.
I didn't think she wouldn't sell, but I mean, just kind of her mom, huge bodied and stout hipped, and, maybe just a little thicker fronted, and it seems to have clicked with authority. So
Yes.
I think that cow's actually bred back the same way. So we'll hopefully maybe have another one of these heifers to sell next year, and maybe have an even more fun story to tell with how this one progresses. So, but yeah, no, if you're on the website or if you're watching the video, I mean, obviously you'll be able to see the picture of the calf, and then got a picture of the bull there as well. So definitely another one. Like I said, that attitude wise, I mean, she'd be a great one for a young showman. She's been easy to get along with ever since we got her in the barn, and for the most part, most of these, unless we've kind of told you to stay away from them, I think most of these would be great for a younger exhibitor. And love working with some younger people and helping people get started, because if it wouldn't have been for the people that worked with us, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing today. So tag 12, probably the most fun colored one out of everything in the sale. He actually is out of Sinful Valentine cow. Was a All-American junior show heifer for my sister. Talked a little bit about the white heifer that we showed, and that was this Sinful Valentine cow. She won her division at the junior show at Louisville as a calf. We actually showed her and her mom at the junior nationals as a cow-calf pair, and they did well there. And she was actually division champion in the bred and owned in the owned show out there as a calf, and then was reserve division as a big heifer at junior nationals in the bred and owned show when we went back to Michigan that next year. So cow we had a lot of success with, one that's done a great job for us in terms of her progeny and things like that. This steer he's dual registerable, so he can be registered as a key and a Shorthorn Plus. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility depending on what you want to show him as, but a steer that I think has all the pieces to be really successful. Once again, just kind of minus the attitude, unfortunately. But he's one that he's made a lot of progress here these last few weeks. I think, not one that I would be scared of or stray away from, but if you are a younger or more inexperienced showman, maybe one that you just, not telling you not to, but just saying he does have a little more go to him. So
got that winning attitude.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he looks cool out. Like I said, I mean, tied up, he's fine. I mean, you can go in, you can brush on him, you can do all those types of things. And just when you let him go, he's going to go run around and show off a little bit. So he likes to show off his athleticism, is what I tell people.
Right. And he's so cool, Mark, too. You talked about his marking and how color he is. He's kind of like a short-horn, roanish color, but it's blue.
Yeah, he's like I mean, I guess you'd call him a blue roan, but yeah, it's he'll be a fun one to fit, I guess. I don't know if he'll be fun to fit or if he'll be a pain, because painting around some of that white stuff could be a little bit interesting, but yeah, no, I think that's a steer that I've been pretty fond of ever since he was born. One that just really square made and wide based, and it seems like I haven't had a lot of the foo cattle, but it seems like to me they tend to get stouter and better as the older they get. So I think that one's got a lot of potential as well. So and then last but not least is tag 13. He is a I-80 son out of a heifer that we sold in our 2019 sale. She was a Primo Lucy's Crystal, with similar breeding to a lot of the ones that Sullivan's and everyone's had over the years that have done a lot of winning. And she did her fair share of winning. Unfortunately, her show career got cut short by COVID. Otherwise, that was one that was very competitive in the winter of 2019. And then showed her Louisville last year. She was third behind the national champion and reserve national champion. So we kind of ran into a buzzsaw with her. We were showing her all the way through, because the champion reserve Shorthorn Plus Hoosier Beef Congress came out of our class. We were third. But hey, you know what? I mean, you can see the picture of her there if you're watching online. And I mean, that thing is just a freak of nature in terms of foot and bone and just functionality. I love that cow. This first calf out of her is one that I think's got a lot of potential. He's one that he can show as a Shorthorn Plus and a main. depending on which way you want to go. I think maybe a little over a year ago, the Shorthorn Association lowered the percentage on the Shorthorn Plus steers 25%. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility in terms of, breeding some of these Shorthorn Plus heifers. You can go back and breed them to some different bulls and, raise some steers and things. And, I think this one's going to be really competitive in that Shorthorn Plus division. And I think he can run in the mains as well. So, like I said, I think that he's a little bit maybe skinnier. He's obviously a lot younger than most of the calves here in the sale. But I think he's one, when you come and look at him in person, I think you're going to be impressed with just, the mass and dimension that he's got. So once again, like I said, I encourage everyone, if you got time, to stop by and look, or if you've got questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to anybody. You can reach out to Dave or I, and love to have you stop by and visit, talk cattle. So
yeah. And I remember a couple years ago we came and very good visit and very nice facility, guys. Got those cattle sorted out, and Dave and Michael great to work with. And man, I'm kicking myself for not bidding on that cow a little more. That tag 13, I was on her mother just a little bit, and she got up there just high enough, and so I backed off of her. But boy, I should have just went ahead and done it. But yeah, what a nice place. And these guys, we go to the shows around here in Indiana, and Michael's there with customers and working on those cattle and fitting those cattle. So you guys do a very nice job with your customer service as well.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, like I said, we try to get to as many shows as we can. Obviously, I don't go to as many as I used to, but we try to help out as much as we can, and if not, we'll at least try to help, maybe find someone that can help you out. So, but yeah, no, I mean, that's part of it. I think it's an important part. I had a lot of people, whether it was Orrin Wolf or Albert O'Connor, or I've had the opportunity to work for quite a few people over the years, Dave Geyer and Tyler Cates and Jared Jark, and a whole bunch of different people have all gave me their time and taught me to get me to the point where I am. And I definitely still have a lot to learn, but try to pass on that knowledge to the next group of young people, because I don't know how much longer I want to be down on the ground fitting these things. So I keep joking. Good friends with Lance Unger and his sons. I keep asking him if he's put clippers in his hands yet, because it's about time for him to take over.
Maybe you can just do tops and tailheads.
Well, that's kind of my preferred spot anyway. But
ears and poles and all the real important stuff there.
Briskets.
Right. Yeah, but you, I think you probably still got a few good years left in you. So.
Yeah. I think so.
Well, Michael, we appreciate you coming on here. Appreciate what you do for those that purchase cattle for you, and those that you do for the agricultural world in Indiana and around here with Halderman Farm and Real Estate. And appreciate all of those things. And you're welcoming guys. You've already got the barn open. Already had guys coming in to look at these cattle. They are already on SC online. They've been viewed a lot because I've been going through them right here as we've been talking about them. And so having a lot of interest in these cattle. And Michael, you got a great set put together, and want to wish you a lot of luck on there on the 14th.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate that. And like I said, if anybody wants to stop by, take a look. We're typically around on the weekends, so just feel free to swing in. If you want to shoot us a message and say, hey, we're going to be there in a couple hours, we'll try to have them cleaned up and ready to look at and out in their lots, things like that. If you need to come during the week, we just ask that you give us a little bit of a heads up, so that way someone can be around. Like I said, Dave and I, obviously with working for Halderman, sometimes schedules could get a little hectic on weekdays, just like to have someone there just in case. So
Right. Yeah. Got to get that guy home from London first, right?
Yeah. Yep. So I kind of forced him into that one. So I'm not gonna give him too hard of a time about that. I told him to go. So
you go to London and I'll stay home and take care of things. That's a pretty good trade-off.
Yeah. He seems to be enjoying himself.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, Michael, again, Columbus, Indiana. SC Online Sales, September 14th, Bonnell Cattle Company, and we hope that you will check those out. Hope you'll check out the podcast video either on Facebook or also on our YouTube channel, and call Michael, call Dave, any questions you have, and so they will get you fixed up. So, Michael, again, just appreciate it very much, and we want to thank you for listening to another edition of Before the Bid podcast. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Before the Bid. For more information and to learn more about upcoming podcasts and sales, visit us at beforethebid.podbean.com or Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram pages. For information on being a guest on Before the Bid, please email us at beforethebid@gmail.com or one of our social media pages. Remember, that's beforethebid@gmail.com. Happy sales to you, and we will talk to you next time on Before the Bid.